Hello there, my name is Thomas O'Regan and I have built an 11 property portfolio over the last 3.5 years between me and my wife. Now, something that I do or that I don't do when I'm buying or looking to buy a property is I don't go to auctions and I don't even look at properties that are being sold at auctions. Why? Because it's a huge risk to buy a property that is sold on auction terms, because auction terms are always in favor of the vendor, the person selling the property, and generally whatever price that the auction lands on, you have to come up with that amount of money no matter what. There is no way you can pull out of an auction if the hammer drops on whatever price you name at auction. So the disadvantages of that is obviously sometimes particular properties can't get finance. Sometimes banks don't let on properties because of whatever reason, and you won't ever know until you actually try and get financial approval for a particular property. So if you're going to an auction and you haven't even got financial approval yet, and then you buy a property at auction, you may not even be able to afford that property, and two, even if you could afford the property, the banks might not even lend the money on it at all. Even if and this is where people get caught out. Even if you have a pre-approval is not a pre-approval is just an amount that the banks might lend to you. Typically, when they give you a pre-approval, they don't even look into your credit. So, say for example, you could literally have defaulted on your mortgage, and the banks won't lend to you, but because you've got so what I'm saying is the banks will give you a pre-approval based on what your borrowing capacity is, but they don't look into your credit. So if you default on a loan payment, they're not seeing that when they give you the pre-approval. So yes, they might lend you $1 million, for example, but when they try and do the full financial approval for you, they might discover that you had a default, meaning they won't give you the finance anyway because they don't lend to people that have defaults. Just one example. So it's very dangerous. Yeah, even if you have the pre-approval, it's very dangerous buying properties at auction. Another situation is, you might be looking at a property and you might have full approval for one property that you're looking at, say in one suburb, and for whatever reason, you didn't go through with that sale, and you might think, hey, I've got a full approval for this property, which is worth, say, $2 million. And then you go to an auction at another property that's the same price, and you go, okay, I'm going to buy this property, and you I guess win the auction, and you buy the property for $2 million and then the banks don't lend on that particular property because for whatever it could be for whatever reason, their criteria, they make it up. Maybe it's a flood zone, maybe they have too much properties in that street. Who fucking knows? No one knows. Sometimes the banks just have rules and you can't get around them. So what I'm saying is never buy properties at auctions, but always inquire about why the property is going to auction and if a deal can get done prior to auction. Because yes, I would never buy a property at auction, but usually I just discount the property and disregard it if it says it's going to auction. But I am signing a property that was going to go to auction today, and the reason I'm signing on it is because they just want to get it sold ASAP. Doesn't need to go at auction, doesn't need to be auction terms. And it was going to auction just because they're getting divorced, and an auction is effectively the quickest way to sell a property. Yeah, that's it. See you guys. Bye.